how to decompose the business problems into a microservice. Suppose we have the business problem and we have to convert that business problems into a microservice architecture. So there are the different guidelines that applicable to each business problems. Not all guidelines apply to all business programs. So we have to first go to the guidelines and then we try to apply that guidelines on the business programs. So first is the describe the business programs. In that, find repeated nouns in the business programs. So repeated nouns are an indications of the core business domains. So business domains is like in which area our business problems related to actually, like payment systems, e-commerce, contracts, license. So that repeated nouns represent a core candidate of the microservice. Okay. So suppose in our business problem to be find the repeated nouns like contract, license, assets, and products. So all that are core candidate of a microservice name. Next is that pay attention to the verbs. So verb represent a action. So in our business problem, the verb represent an action, and actions refer that it's interact more than one service, microservice. Suppose we have that transaction X needs to get data from things A and things B. So things A and B is we can say that is the microservice, and the needs is the action actually. So that usually indicates that we are interacting more than one microservice. Another sample, suppose Mike is a person. Mike is a person from desktop service. So desktop service, we can say that it is a organization. Okay. So Mike is from desktop service setting up a new PC. Okay. Setting up a new PC means he is configuring a new PC. So he looks up the number of the license available for software X, and if license are available, he installed the software. So when Mike configured the new PC, it looks the software and their license available license. And if license available, then install the software. So install is one of the action. He then update the number of the license used in his tracking spreadsheet. So he had the tracking spreadsheet in which he update which license he has used. Okay. So keywords are looks and update actually. So he looks up. So we missed it. So looks, install, and update are the words. But the keywords are actually looks and update. So we have to find actually what are the keywords in our business problems. Next is the look for data cohesions. So data cohesions represent that data and function on that data in a single unit. So cohesion represent that the functions and data used by that functions are in a single unit, in a single box. You can say, yeah, tightly bonded. As you break apart your business problem into distributed, look for piece of data that are highly related to one another. In that, we have when we break our business problems into pieces, so like suppose we have the library system. So book release and book submission is the one part. Penalty and fine is another part. Okay. Report deletions and updation is another part. So there are the different part of our business problems. So we have to look for piece of data that are highly related to that. Like suppose we are updating the book report in our library system, then book name, book publisher name, and book editions. That data are related to each other actually. Okay, highly related to vendors. So we have to look that piece and that piece of data when operation applied on that piece of data that should be in a single transactions. If suddenly during the course of your command you are updating the data that are radically different. If we are reading the updating data that are different from what you have, It means we have we are interacting more than one service. Suppose it in our library system, record addition, like the book name, publisher name, addition is one of the data, and penalty on the student is another data. So that are data are not related to each other. That are different data, but they will be intact actually. Okay. So the book recordation will be in one of the microservices, and penalty process features will be implemented in another microservices. Okay. So microservice should completely own their data. Okay. We should avoid that microservices are using when in another service development. We should be, our focus is that it should be the coordinating data and functions from that single units. Okay. Next guideline is the decomposition of the transactions. In decomposition of the transaction is that the concept is telling that a transaction refer to the series of the operation performed between components of the system as a unit of the part. We should avoid that transaction will go across to microservice. Suppose a transaction start in one microservice and it go to another microservice. That should be avoided. And operations should be, if a transaction we have to perform on the data, then make sure our preference should be set. The data should be with a single microservice. So that how the transaction will be at all. In this approach, microservice system is designed so that each particular transaction belongs to the separate microservice. Okay. Each transaction belongs to a separate microservice. Next is the design by business capability. Sometimes that's a business done. So this is another guideline. Right? When we have a business problem, so we can divide our business problem by business capability. Business capability means what the business is doing. You design a system that mirrors the organization structure a business needs. Suppose we are maintaining the report of the organization, and the organization has a different department, and each department has the different operations. So every department can be a referred to a microservice. In the organization for an e-commerce, suppose an e-commerce app, e-commerce app, there will be teams such as order, payment, and shipping team. So each of these teams can have a become separate service. In e-commerce service, like the Amazon, Flipkart, we do the order, we do the payments, we have the shipping of the items. So these are the different business features, actually core business features. So core business features can be working as a microservice. Suppose a banking application might have business capability to account management. Okay, transaction processing, loan organizations. So that can be the different features. So we can provide our business uh, uh, problems to microservices as a business capability. Designed by subdomains. Sometimes the organization structure is inefficient. Sometimes we find that the structure in the organization is not uh, efficient here. So what we do in that scenario, we divide the business problems in the form of the subdomains, meaning that you want to decompose your top of domain, look at the business domains and subdomains. So domain is the main feature, main function the organization is working, and subdomain is the part. Suppose in our e-commerce examples, we may have a order domains which has multiple subdomains such as payment. The payment is a subdomain, tax subdomain, and discount or rent order is the subdomains. Each of these three can be a service while the domain between the orders. So Subdomain will be our microservice. Okay. The domains will be in that scenario, the domains will be order and subdomain will be our microservice. It's a domain driven design in nutshell described. So this example will not be okay, small nutshell actually. So they have the different guideline. If you find the organization structure is working, then take the organization department as a microservice. If organization structure is inefficient, then look at the what the business descriptions in the domain and subdomain. Then subdomain will the microservice. Okay, and another is the if there is a highly transactional business problem, then look at the transaction. So each transaction should be executed within the microservice so that it will be atomic. And another is the data and cohesions means the actions and the data should be in a single microservice. Okay, if there are data, we are interacting with a different, radically different data. Okay, then it means we are interacting. We have to interact with more than one microservice. We attention to what represent action and action before that we are interacting more than one microservices. So when we look at the what in the business problem, so we should look in the key waveforms actually. Okay, we have to look at the key waveforms actually. Look at the key waveforms and the business problem nouns. Nouns can be a core candidate of the microservice.